Bubba Love, what does love got to do with anything? Does anybody know what love is? Does people love like Jesus? If Jesus had to compare himself to the way he loved, do you do that?
I'd love to try to figure that out
I
in
think
this
we ought to.
podcast. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's break it down.
Welcome to the Called to Love podcast, a show dedicated to exploring how human relationships and intimacy with God are connected. Join us as we discuss hard-hitting topics that inspire and motivate you to go deeper into the intricacies of building meaningful relationships. Here now are your hosts, James Levisee and Brian Knoedl.
Brian, there's so many misunderstandings about what we talk about. Sometimes we talk about love, and people say, well, I love people, I love God. And I'm wondering, okay, well, let's break that down. We could really get into that if we wanted to. We could really start talking about what does it look like to love God. I was talking to a guy last night, and he was like, man, it must take a lot of time spending with people that, how much time are y'all talking about when y'all talk about building relationships? And I've noticed a lot of people, when we talk to them about, building relationships with people, they'll sit there and be thinking, now, I don't know if I have time to do that. But then we look at other things and we say, is God the most important thing in your life? And they'll say, yeah, man, God's number one. Do you spend more time with him than do you other people? Do you spend more time with him than you do your job? Where does he fit into this number one love triangle? Where's he at? Is he at the top? Is he at the bottom? Where's he at? So I think a lot of times we say love in theory. We love in theory. We love because we are not going to hell. So we love the guy that's going to keep us out. I love that dude, man. He bought me out of that. Now, if he was right in front of you and talking to you, and he said, hey, Brian, tell me anything, and I'll only give you my opinion if you want it. But let's just hear your life. You probably wouldn't like most of the stuff he said. Yeah. You'd probably get tired of that friend because he would be, man, I just get nervous when I get around him.
You're on to something. Love is just as misunderstood at times than what church means. What church is supposed to be. Love is misunderstood as really the second word that we find is relationships. What does that mean? Mm-hmm. And so, there's songs that are written about what's love got to do with a secondhand emotion. There's all of these different songs and different opportunities for people to talk about literature that talks about love. And then every once in a while you'll see a video of a couple that have been married 70 years and they're holding hands. And you look at that and you go, that's gotta be
I know
love.
they gotta love each other.
They gotta love each other that long. I mean,
there's all kinds of opportunities to break up.
I know. And so to them, if you talk to them, they don't think about marriage. They're together. They're one. They've done life together. They understand what honesty looks like, transparency looks like, vulnerability looks like. You can't be in a relationship and operate to the capacity of the benefit of what it means if you're self-centered or self-focused. It's impossible to do that. And even when we look in Scripture and see what Jesus has to say about following him, dying to self, he wants us to deny the way we think, feel, and trust him, the lover of our soul, the one that died for us, wants the best for us, and wants to be in relationship with us. And so we see such diversity in people's perspective of what it looks like to walk their faith out. Some people look at it as, this is what my schedule looks like, this is how I use my gifts, talents, abilities. And then some people talk about intimacy. Some people talk about the time they spend with the Lord. It's a contrasting difference. And what does a relationship with the Lord look like? I mean, to say I love the Lord, what does that really mean? To say my wife and I love each other, well, we know there's such diversity in people's marriages. People operate differently. So I'd love to talk about that, but you brought up a great point. It is completely and totally misunderstood. Love is very, very difficult to wrap our minds around. And you and I have been really focusing lately on what expressions of love look like. Someone can say, I don't know if I've ever been loved, but I remember when someone was kind to me. I have had heartache, I've had heartbreak in relationships, but I remember when someone was patient with me. Someone made me feel safe. Someone modeled, when I was out of sorts, they were controlled. And those are the things that stand out. People don't remember what you say, but they remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
Expressions.
Well, you got rule number one. You got to practice it. I've been on these jobs, and there's been this common character there, this man, and he's the boss. And one thing he's proud of is how well he chews people out. I heard him talking to another guy that was a boss, and they were comparing stories about chewing people out. And so I've been privy to these chewings, and it's really awkward and uncomfortable because I'm just a fly on the wall over there eating my sandwich, and these grown men, 40, 50 years old, some of them 30, are getting talked to like 2-year-olds, okay? Well, the other day, I had a job to go out to his house and do a bunch of work at his house. And that dude had love all over his walls. He had plaques of love. He had big cutout, metal things of love. Love was everywhere. He had picture frames that was all about love. It's like,
wow,
man, that dude right there.
No way.
So I'm sitting there thinking, does the guys that work for him know he loves? I mean, they try to. I hear both sides, because when he's not around, I hear what they say too. Like, is so and so gone? Man, that guy. And then
that's crazy.
It's crazy,
but it happens all the time.
It happens all the time. So somehow the culture is such that I love when it's appropriate, but when it's time to get a butt chewing, that's what we're going to do. That's my job, and that's what keeps guys going. If you don't do it, they won't do their work. So this idea that you could love somebody into loyalty, or love somebody into, doing a good job or something like that, isn't quite as straight. It don't make people feel quite as good sometimes. So you got to practice it. When you see somebody that may not look approachable, you could think to yourself, I'm about to go love that joker. I am about to go turn on the love light, and I'm just going to light them up with love. It doesn't matter what mood they're in or what it is, what's going on or everything like that. If you'll go over there and sincerely compliment them, say something nice to them, just an act of kindness.
What's going to make you do that, though, James?
Well, you're going to have to.
Where's the source from that come from? Is that just you mustering up some love and saying, I'm going to be nice to people?
Well, it's impossible to do that without a higher power, God, who is love, which is incredible. It's amazing, really, is a better word, that the creator of the universe would actually be love. And that's where we get it from. And, if you stare at somebody long enough and you hang around with them long enough, you'll start to act like them. Somehow, though.
Is it not? It's not enough just to believe, and suddenly love just dumps in your lap for people. Well, how does it work? I mean, that's what we're finding people asking us. Why are you committing so much time? I mean, why is this so important to you? Why? How can you dedicate this much time? Why would you get up and meet people so early in the morning? Why?
Well, I think they stop believing in love because they don't get it back in return when they give it. And so their criteria, most people's criteria is, if I give it to you once and you don't give it back, I'll try again. But if consistently you don't give it back, I'm done. And I don't like you anymore.
So love, it's conditional love. To the measure that you love me is to the measure I'm going to reciprocate that back.
Yes. And so people say, whatever energy you give me, I'm going to give it back. I'm going to match it. So if you're nice, I'll be nice. But if you're not, I'm not. So that's not love. And Jesus was unconditional in his love. It didn't matter to him that he gave his life and they still weren't satisfied with he was who he was. And Peter just soon, well, I'm done now. I done did the big one. He was shocked to have Jesus be like, "Hey, Bubba, you still love me? I love you."
It's beautiful. It's hard because the people that are supposed to love the most oftentimes are the ones that disappoint you because of a circumstance or a situation. We talk to people all the time that's been hurt by church, so they want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. They're like, well, you know what, I'm never going back. I've had a bad experience. They call themselves Christians. You and I have talked about this many, many times. The road and journey of faith involves growing, maturing. If you don't ever grow up and mature and begin to know the Lord in more levels of depth, you're never going to truly understand his heart and and the way he loves people, the way he sees people, your role in that while you're on this earth. You'll always look at us and them. It's never part of my mission is to love people like he did. And people don't want that. They either want someone else to love people for them, or you need to go to church if you need love. But my experience and what we've seen is, and that's our heart, is to help change people's perspective of love, relationships.
Well, a common thing I see is someone of influence will be highly loved by somebody.
Oh, yeah.
It's like in a church setting, the pastor can't, as soon as he gets done with the church, you'll see everybody kind of lined up waiting to talk to the pastor. But if that pastor crosses them, they'll leave the church and never speak to him again. But at some point, they were very, had very much gratitude towards this person. Same thing with celebrities and you name it. And, it was funny. We had a guest speaker at a thing the other day that we were at. There was about, 50, 60 people there. And he had such a compelling story. It was funny because I knew the guy really good. We're really good friends, both of us, with him. And everybody was lined up to talk to him. And I was giving this one guy a hard time. And I said, he's really not all that.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
And, I was joking, but we both know this guy.
Yes.
He's got his faults. If you hang around somebody long enough, you'll find reasons why you might not like them. So,
well, if you remember, he was sharing his story and his journey of faith, and people, the men were so moved by this awakening, this love affair, this redemption, how God rescued you. It's so amazing. People feel most closest to the Lord by hearing somebody else's story and go, man, dude, that's a beautiful story. That's a great love story. That's a great redemption story, man. And they just want to share how it made them feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what's so beautiful. And sometimes they just, they're bigger than life.
They are. They
Jesus
really
was
are.
rubbing on you. So I want to be around you. I just want to... I want to thank you for, and what it is, and that's why it's so important to come together as often as we can, is to help encourage one another, inspire one another, remind one another how important it is to be in relationship with the Father, the Son, and the Spirit with one another. It's vitally important, but it's fun. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it really is. And, we've got to figure out, how do we love 24/7? When the guy, I'll go back to what I opened with. When the guy come up and said, man, you must be spending a lot of time. And I'm like, I really don't feel like I'm spending, because think about it. We leave one relationship and then I go to work. And then I'm around another relationship. And then I come home. And then I'm around another relationship. So I never turn it off. What makes it fake is when you get done with the church mode, because you're intentionally loving on somebody because you want to see them come to Christ.
And that's your responsibility or obligation.
Yes, but at work, them knuckleheads, they couldn't get it if it slapped them in the face.
Sure.
So you turn it off. It's like it's useless. And I'm sitting
That's
here
the
saying,
exhausting part.
That is
trying to keep up with all these hats. How am I going to be this way? How am I going to be that way?
Right. When I'm seeing people as, man, this is an eternal relationship. This person I'm in front of might become one of my bestest friends. They might become one of my biggest
clients.
Fruitful success in the Lord case I've ever seen.
Sure. Or
I could just be like, psh, psh, whatever. So the idea of loving people is just, it's nonstop. It's we're going to turn it on and we're going to leave it on, and we're going to love people at home. We're going to love people in the restaurants. We're going to love people out where we go. And to say this, people that know me and are around me, they could do this. They could be like, man, he gets on that mic and he talks about love like he does it. So you got to walk it. You can't just get up here and just start talking about loving people and going around loving people, and then everybody knows you don't.
That's true. That's true.
And we're guilty of that all the time, from a pulpit and from a stage, from a ministry setting and things like that. So here's the deal. Don't be preaching stuff if you're not practicing it.
You got to walk it out.
You got to.
It's not about perfection. It's just about the desire to be consistent and walk it out each and every day.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I met a guy today and that came by to look at a vehicle, and he had his back to me, and I walked up to him and turned around. I mean, we rode bikes together, and he was part of a group of guys that rode bikes, and he was so apologetic that he had been out of touch, that he hadn't been in touch with me. And I was like, why are you being sorry for? Well, man, you're just super awesome, and you were there, and I just didn't return your call. I didn't, you texted me, and I felt so bad, and I drive by, and I'm like, I can't stop in there, man. He texted me, I never returned his call, but I had to come in here because I need to look for something. So it's just amazing how people can feel when people love them, even if they don't reciprocate it. They remember that. Yeah. And we had a great conversation, but I'd love to talk more about this, James. There's a whole lot more we need to uncover to really bring perspective and help people understand what that is. But
I think we can do that.
Okay. Well, till next time.
We hope this episode of the Called to Love podcast has enriched your life and offered valuable principles to apply on your personal journey. Please explore our website at www.calledto.love for more information and to share your feedback with us. Until our next episode, may you find peace and love. And always remember, you are called to love.